New day, same me. No rush, I'm where I should be. Turn the noise down, see me shining. Low-key thriving, low-key thriving.
Hey, everybody. I say everybody, but it's just me in the room right now because I am really awesome at advertising for myself. So I don't know. I did a lot of things funky and a lot of things wrong, and I did not advertise this podcast too well. So, or this episode, I guess, this live recording on my Pride recap. So looks like it's just moi. And I realized as I logged in here to start my stream, my recording, that I can actually stream to like my social platforms, but I don't know like genuinely what the heck I'm doing. So I am winging it, and I am also pulling up my show notes. I am so well prepared today, obviously, but we are getting there. So thank you for hanging in there with me this episode. Did not do a formal intro because, hello. I'm attempting to go live. Yeah, still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing, how I can share this. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to quit doing what I was doing and hang tight. Hey, I'm Mel G. I am the hot mess, not guru, and not a life coach, host of the Low Key Thriving podcast. And I wanted to wrap up June, which is Pride Month, and I wanted to wrap up with a few questions, and I originally wanted to start out Pride Month with an episode, and I kind of thought that's what everybody does. Everybody starts out the month of June, gung-ho, freak flags a-flying, rainbow flags everywhere, there's glitter everywhere, right? We're dancing in the streets. But what happens 2 weeks after June 1st, or after that initial Pride Parade? I feel like the hype kind of fades. I feel like maybe at the beginning of the month, the people who are out and about, no longer closeted, like I said earlier, letting their freak flags fly, are feeling so seen in 2026 and are feeling so alive and vibrant. And then I thought, as we fade into the end of the month, the rest of the year, living life like you normally have to do, what happens? What happens to the people who don't feel seen anymore? Or are we just a trend? Was it just a trend, right? I feel like being queer, being a part of the LGBTQ plus community is not a trend. It is definitely somebody's life. It might be your life, your sister's life, your brother's life, cousin's life, aunt's life. Hell, I don't know. Somebody in your life may be a part of the community and may be experiencing these types of things that aren't trending. So I really wanted to have this episode move towards the end of the month to kind of see, like, does pride still matter at the end of the month when all is said and done? Is what we're doing relevant? What even is pride, right? I have friends in the community. I would consider myself an ally. But then I thought, what makes a great ally? Is it just because I'm friends with you and I support your lifestyle? Does that make me a good ally? Or is it something else entirely? So, long intro long, I really want to get into Pride Month and what Pride means and how, low-key, we can just do better. So, welcome. And I want to open up with this question. Why does Pride still matter in 2026? Now, for me, to answer that question. I don't like labels. I am married to a male. If that makes me straight, cool. And I think it's funny. I would say probably back 20 years ago, I would consider myself queer, right? Somebody strange and unusual. But I feel like just even that term has kind of switched gears and means something a little bit more different these days. Urban aired. I don't support any things that just kind of slipped out. I have kids and it's been a day. I have definitely urban dictionaried kind of what being queer means today, and it's something completely different than what it meant 20 years ago. But I definitely would consider myself strange and unusual, Lydia. So I just wanted to think, like, why does pride still matter in 2026? I feel like everybody feels so open to maybe express themselves. So I really like to compare it to being a female of color, being a part of the Black community, and just kind of the strifes we went through. And from what I'm thinking, right, female of color, I am definitely a minority, a mixed female, right? I'm biracial. Like, it definitely still matters. I think there's still a long way to go when it comes to acceptance, especially when we get into appropriation versus appreciation. I feel like there's still a lot of conversations we need to talk about. So for me, definitely, pride still matters in 2026. I feel like there's a long way to go. I feel like there's still a lot we need to be educated on. And something else I really want to find out from people, and I think I'm gonna have to make a part 2 of this episode where I actually like get more people involved, because this feels kind of weird. Me talking about this subject, and it doesn't really pertain to me personally. So I'm gonna kind of throw out my questions and I'm gonna let you think about it. And I would really love to have people comment, email me, interact, and we'll probably definitely have a part 2, especially later in the year when we're not so focused on pride and maybe you've started to feel unseen by like October. You're like, am I still relevant? You know? So, anyways, what does pride mean to you personally? Is it a celebration? Are we sticking it to the man? Is it a little bit of both? And for me and the people I see, why I like to celebrate pride is seeing people being able to authentically celebrate themselves. I can't imagine, especially when it comes to like the fundamental basics of loving another consenting of age human being, why we wouldn't celebrate that. Like, why can't we celebrate love? And again, I compare that to things my parents went through, right? My mother's German, who is white, and my father is African American, Black, if you will, and thinking like their marriage wouldn't have been considered, wasn't considered legal, I think, until the 60s, the late 60s, which, hello, that's not that long ago. It really wasn't that long ago. 60s, 70s? Like, our marriage was outlawed, and till this day, in certain countries, it still is. And if it's not outlawed in some places, it's definitely frowned upon. I saw the looks my parents would get when they would go out together, and now being in a mixed marriage myself, my husband is of the Latinx flavor, okay? And sometimes the looks we get from our own peoples, from strangers, from kids, the questions, it's a lot. So sometimes for us being together, I definitely feel like rebel girl, but this is the man, and Jonathan's gonna love this phrase when he hears this. This is the man I chose to love. This is the man I want to spend the rest of my life with. This is the human being I chose for me, and it's great. It's work. So that's also a celebration that I and this big ol' spinning marble found my mate. I found the person who not only loves me for me, but chooses to love me every day for being me. So how can I not celebrate that? If there was a Melissa and Big Daddy Day, a Mel G Big Daddy celebration month, you bet your ass I am dancing in the streets. I'm going to wave banners around with our face. I'm going to make him wear, the little Hawaiian t-shirts with my face all over it, the underwears. Like, we are doing the most to celebrate what we found because not everybody can have that. Not everybody finds that. Some people in their time on this earth not experiencing what me and Big Daddy experience, okay? And it's a whole lot. It goes beyond being parents, it goes beyond being Mel G, it goes beyond being the individual that is Big Daddy Jonathan. It's a lot. It's really something special, and it took me almost 17 years to realize how special and unique that is. So why would we not celebrate it? Why would I not want to protest anybody who says our love isn't authentic? Our love shouldn't matter because we're different races. So that's how I compare it to pride and being of the LGBTQ plus community. And I hope I'm saying that right because those terms have also changed. So if I'm wrong, please kindly let me know, okay? We're not about gatekeeping here on this channel. I'm all about being educated. I definitely don't know it all. I told you, I ain't no guru. So, how has our relationship with pride evolved over the years? Now, for me personally, as an ally, I start out, it's a big party. We're partying, we're celebrating life, we're celebrating love. It was just a party. You ask Mel G 20 years ago, we're just partying it up. We're wearing the cutest outfits and we're doing the most out in the streets, okay? To where now, 20 years from then, it means something deeper. It means something deeper for me as an ally is to say, are you being seen? Or are you feeling too seen? Do you just want to be a regular person and not feel like you're on display or have to prove yourself or feeling enough? And again, comparing it to what I know, and it's being a woman of color, I can never be black enough. I can never be white enough. I can have the good hair. I can have the bad hair. Like, there's a lot in between. So when I think about how pride has evolved for me over the years, it's really getting to the roots of what it means to be proud. Proud of who you are authentically. Proud of who you are at your own core, knowing you and knowing what works for you, and hopefully finding a community who can relate to you, who can love you for you, who doesn't ask anything less or anything more of you. So for me, that's kind of how it's evolved. It's evolved from this party to kind of like a TED Talk, like this deep think, deep state. How can we help each other? How can we be better? How can we move forward? How can we make sure laws are in place to protect what we're building? How can we make more people feel seen without also stepping on their toes or making them think they have to perform on RuPaul's Drag Race, right? How can we not make this performative and just make it life? How can we, in the garden of life, flourish? How can we bloom? And what happens after we bloom, right? Does that make sense? I've been reading a lot of Eckhart Tolle lately, so there's a lot going on in my mind. So these were kind of my live call-in questions, but since I'm a terrible marketer these days, and it's honestly because I've just got so much on my mind, me personally, in case you needed to know, there's just a lot going on with me. So I haven't put my podcast in the forefront. And again, cheer parent, some of y'all are celebrating pride as cheerleaders, cheer coaches, cheer gym owners, whatever. So our summers have started and they're busy. So I've been doing that. Stay tuned for more episodes on that. But anyways, getting back, these are supposed to be live call-in questions, but these are kind of prompts I wanted to seed in our mind. And I know, so tacky. I am looking at my notes and not at the camera. But again, your girl is working and she's tired, y'all. She is tired. So, looking at some of these prompts, and I'm sorry, if you're in your car listening to this and you're probably like, what a hot ass mess. Yeah, this was supposed to be kind of like a live, interactive, like Zoom call, if you will. So let's get into it. Let's just stop rambling and making excuses. I want to know what's one thing you want allies to actually understand this Pride Month. Again, I consider myself an ally. So, what do you want us to really understand this Pride Month? Is it that you're going through the thick of it, you're having a hard time, you're feeling seen, you're feeling less seen, you're feeling stressed? Like, I want to know. And have you ever had to come out more than once, like to different people or when you go to different spaces? Again, okay, I relate this to being a woman of color, and I can't tell you how many times I step into a different room and different environment, and I think it's what I'm conditioned to do is to be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Melissa. This is what I do. This is my career. I'm a podcast host. I'm also biracial, and I'm also not a guru." And then you move into the next space and you have to tailor that speak again and that introduction to your audience. And luckily, my audience here is full of thrivers and hot mess peeps and peeps, the type C's, B's, and the type A's who fall in the type C category some days, you know? So y'all get it. But even sometimes explaining to different people, right? I think it's funny and I have to crack myself up. And this is like that performative action when I am, and you know what? I'll use the sides of town for San Antonio. If you know, you know, okay? Like, I will go to, like, the La Cantera, Alamo Ranch side of town and totally be like, "Hi, my name's Melissa. I'm a podcast host, but don't worry, I'm not a guru. I'm not a life coach. Nothing serious." Right. You see my tone there? It was like that one movie where you call and you get the fake voice and then come to, the south side of town, east side of town, where I kind of feel a little more at home with my peeps and it's a little more colorful. And I'm like, yo, what's up? Mel G here. I'm not a guru. I'm not a life coach. I'm just here to give you my 2 cents. Kind of see what I did there? Same introduction, different performative vibe. And I don't like performing. So I've been on the journey to be more authentic. So East Side, City of Converse Mel is also the Rim La Cantera Mel, right? When I walk into Hermes, just one day, I have walked into Hermes. Or when I walk into Tiffany's, Oh, I love Tiffany's. Can we take a moment for Tiffany's? But when I walk into Tiffany's, right? And you have to like explain yourself to that salesperson, which is so dumb. Like you're in there to buy jewelry for God's sakes. So yeah, sorry, take a sip. Why do I have to explain myself, introduce myself? I'm here to spend my dollars and my dollars spend just as well as anybody else's. So anyways, moving on. Different topic for different day. So I want to know, what does thriving look like in your LGBTQ plus identity? Is it being out in the closet? Is it dancing in the middle of the streets? Is it wearing certain outfits? Or are we comparing it to what we see on TV? Or are we thriving because we have lawmakers in office now? We have people who are recognizing the community and recognizing that we need some change. And see, and this is where I talk about the evolution of pride. It came from celebrating something and making it a movement, making it a statement, making sure we're moving forward with the community's future in mind, right? How can these kids grow up feeling proud of themselves, feeling proud to be a part of the community, feeling proud to vote, feeling proud to be involved, feeling proud to even get the haters' looks? Like, I want to know, what does thriving look like? And I really want to know, who was the person that made you feel safe enough to be yourself? Again, you kind of heard me say it when I like did the weird La Cantera FM 78 East Side Mel G. There's kind of two different things there. But I want to know, who made you really feel safe? Was it a mentor? Was it a sibling? Was it a parent? Because that would be really awesome. That would be really awesome. I can tell you somebody I'm totally safe to be around. Again, Big Daddy. Hello, Jonathan. You're getting lots of shout outs. He's somebody I really feel super safe being around. My Swifty crew, okay? Morgan, Janice, Mel Emma, y'all have been my saving grace since I met y'all. And y'all have seen the goofy side, the serious side, the ghetto side, the silly side, the professional side. And y'all have really stuck and supported me through all the things. So when I say that people really make me feel safe, like that's why I want, like those, my chosen kind of family, my chosen tight circle, and my partner, my husband, the person who chooses to love me every day. See, babe, I do listen. And he really makes me feel safe. I mean, safe enough to like walk around naked in the house with my body dysmorphia, okay? Like that to me is safe. I know I can be myself completely around him, zero judgment. And yes, he will make fun of me sometimes and will call me out on my business if I'm not standing on business. And that makes me love him even more. In the moment, I might be thinking, what's a good divorce lawyer's number? But in the long run, when I think about the future, it's okay. He gets it. And he's doing it out of and he's being himself. My husband is the type of person who like picks on you, roasts you. That's what the kids are doing these days. Like my husband's the type who roasts you. And I love that about him some days. And I love that he's comfortable enough to roast me, even if I don't appreciate it sometimes. So shout out again, Big Daddy. There's probably gonna be a lot of Big Daddy shout out. Oh, okay, so this is a good question, and there's gonna be a lot. This is again, hang in there with me because I don't know what I'm doing. We're learning as we go, peeps. What's something the community gets wrong about itself? I feel like I can't answer this, but I really want to know the answer to it. Like, what's something y'all get wrong about yourselves? I want to know. That's a very, and that may take some deep thinking, but I mean, seriously, holler at your girl, or maybe we'll do a part 2 where I advertise better or I figure out how to actually like live stream this. But I really want to know. Okay, so, what's one thing that's changed for the better? And one thing that still needs work? I can say for the state of Texas, here in our wonderful city of San Antone, y'all, I love that the LGBTQ plus community is getting more recognition. There are more centers popping up. There are more people I'm seeing on social media that are local, who are out, who are being very helpful, who are being great resources for the community. I've seen allies come about. The strip is alive and well. It has definitely been something different that I've seen evolve, right? I've been able to get into the club since about 18, and that, woo, girl, that's been about 20 years now. So I've seen like the strip evolve, and I've seen our city evolve, and I've seen the community be more involved in city activities. I mean, hell, y'all, we have a lesbian mayor. And I don't know if that's the correct terminology, if that's what she wants to go by. I don't like labels. But she is in a same-sex partnership, and I'm here for it. So when Bexar County, or City of San Antonio, I can't say Bexar County, we have different mayors. When the City of San Antonio voted Miss Gina Ortiz mayor, that was an historical event. So when I say like jaws dropped, pins dropped. The community was woke. And I'm sure it wasn't just the LGBTQ plus community who gave her the votes, but I'm sure it was people in same-sex partnerships, Democrats, Republicans. She got votes, y'all, and she won the election. So when I say that, have things changed for the better? Yeah, I feel like we've become more accepting. We've come to realize that you're an adult or you're a person and you can live your life the way you want to live your life. Now, again, I would say there are boundaries, right? Let's not be weirdos. There's weirdos out there, and I'm sorry, there's no nice way to say it. There's no PC way for me to be around it besides calling you a weirdo, right? There's some things these days that I'm shocked that it happens, and I'm just shocked. There's just a lot, okay? There's too much. There's too much going on. So while I am appreciative of the wokeness, I think there do need to be boundaries around some things. Anyways, I might get some hate on that one. That's kind of a hot take. It is what it is. So I've seen things like that be changed for a better, right? We have somebody who is in the LGBTQ plus community as the mayor of good old San Antonio. Now, things that still need work. Again, I'm an ally. I think we still need to work on how we can be better as humanity. How can we make sure people have equal rights, equal access? How can we make sure everyone thrives through life, no matter how they choose to live their life? And again, I compare it to what I know, just being a female of color, y'all. It's work. We still have a long way to go. And some days it feels like we're taking 2 steps backwards. But I think all in all, we need to keep humanity alive and well in the community. I believe we need to have faith in ourselves, have faith in our brothers, have faith in our sisters, our mothers, fathers, sons, daughters. And I think we need to be a little more empathetic. There's still a lot that needs work, but there's also still a lot we can celebrate. And I'm so glad that there are resources available nowadays for the community to reach out to, attend events, and make sure they're not feeling so alone, making sure that they can thrive, right? Okay, this one has been deep on my mind lately. Appreciation versus appropriation. And when did being queer become like trendy? How do we feel about that? Now, I mentioned Miss Lydia earlier, right? I love, like, Beetlejuice is one of my all-time favorite movies. Beetlejuice made me feel seen as a girl growing up who wasn't really allowed to express that side of herself. I think deep down inside me is like this gothic rebel girl who never really got to be birthed because it was considered inappropriate or not presentable, had to be a certain way. And again, woman of color, like growing up, there weren't a lot of Black gothic girls. There weren't a lot of girls who looked like me in the rock scene. There weren't a lot of people who look like me in general in that kind of scene. So I put myself in another box and yeah. Anyways, so now when I watch Beetlejuice, I let my children watch it, and people love how cool Lydia is. Like, even as an adult, I'm like, Lydia was a hot mess, but she's still super cool. And how kids these days can be celebrated as goth. And my kids wanted to go to like Hot Topic and buy those clothes. And Everly, my 8-year-old child, is kind of like on the cusp of being that like rebel girl. And there's days I have to help her out. And then there's days where I'm like, I love you so much for being you. And for her, I can see it's not a trend. Like when Homegirl goes into Hot Topic or throws on, she's been really into Metallica lately. So when she puts on her Metallica music or her punk music in her room, it's really fun and it's interesting to see her come into her own and realize like it's not a trend. Now, my oldest, she is not a Lydia, okay? And I think it's funny, when she was younger, she tried, watching Beetlejuice and, my different gothy kind of movies, my Pretty in Pink movies, and just trying to be that alt girl. And it just wasn't her look. So I think it's kind of funny when I have one daughter who really appreciates that kind of alt girl lifestyle. And then I have another daughter who like tried it and would, like, try some of the trends, like the chokers, the spikes, the things, and it worked for, like, a month. And then after that month, she was like, "That's not it." And while my other daughter is, like, living in the lifestyle or approaching to live that kind of lifestyle, and I'm here for it. So, I think about that when it's being queer, and I especially hear and even in myself, the terminology, the symbolisms, the mannerisms, right? We've got RuPaul Drag Race out. I mean, what season are we on? Are we in the double digits already? It's gone overseas, and I love me some Mama Ru. Like, I love me some Mama Ru. And I guess where I see and where I kind of question this appreciation versus appropriation thing is, you walk around and again, cheer world, I see these kids in the gym and they're like, tea or clock it. And it was recently, maybe 6 months ago, I saw somebody doing, the little clock it with your index finger and your thumb, like, clock it. And they meant clock it, right? But they actually were, like, wanting to do it as a compliment, which is, like, your middle finger and your thumb, which is the sign language way of saying the number 8. So when you're doing it, it's like, "Oh, she ate. They ate. That dance ate. That performance ate." So that's what she meant it. Now, clock it is kinda like you clock somebody's tea. And see what I'm doing here? I don't know if this is appropriation or I am very appreciative of this because this is my favorite thing. You clock somebody's tea. You call them out. You are telling the truth. You are living the truth. You are saying the truth. Girlfriend, you are preaching the truth. Okay, we're clocking it. We're standing on business. And so that's where I'm kind of like, oh, okay, people are doing it without even realizing what it means. And I'm happy to educate, and I'm not doing it, I don't think, in a jerky way, and if I have, please call me out and be like, "Can you be nicer?" Because I really mean it with, like, the best in mind. But seriously, where's that line between appreciation and appropriation? Again, being me and who I am, they've called out braids recently, and, like, women who aren't of color were wanting to get, micro braids, knotless braids, goddess braids, like, I've seen the social media trends. But I also have seen women who appreciate the hairstyle, who appreciate the history behind it and what it means for us people of color. I've seen them appreciate it, and I've seen them do the trend justice. I've seen them do the hair justice, that style justice, that background justice. But then I've also seen the women who get the braids and think they can act out of character and wind up being a little more offensive. And I don't know if that's intentional or if it just happens. Now, I know some people have grown up in areas where that culture is that culture, and they really are that way. But then what's that movie, Malibu's Most Wanted? Like, this is what I'm picturing, Some kid who has no idea, who's just seen Yo MTV Raps or has watched 106 in Park, for 6 weeks, a month, and thinks, "Oh, I can be like this. This is my lifestyle. This is how I'm gonna be," without knowing the background. I think that's where you get into more of the appropriation side versus the appreciation side. So, yeah, I kinda wanna know, like, when did being queer become this trendy? And maybe it always I won't say it always has been. Because when I think back to, like, the 70s, 60s, before then, like, obviously it wasn't a trend. You couldn't even trend, right? God forbid. Like, you couldn't. So when did it really become trendy? I'm really wondering, like, what was the tipping point? Now, it could be because the queer community has style, grace, there's just a different vibe? Or is that also, like, the trendy stuff I'm seeing? Like, am I appropriating right now? Yeah, I don't know, I had to pause there because, like, what just came out of my mouth as I said it, I thought about it. So I really wanna know, when did this become trendy, and, like, how are we feeling about it? Does it make you feel more seen? Or does it kinda make you wanna creep back in the closet? What's the deal? And speaking of being in the closet, so are you feeling more seen than ever now? Or are you kind of like, no, I'm not feeling seen at all. I feel like only this part of pride is being seen, while the other part, maybe the behind the scenes part of being queer, gay, bi, trans, lesbian, maybe that part isn't really being seen. So, what's the tea? What are we doing? How are we feeling? How are you feeling? That's what I want to get down to. And so, how do you hold pride? And this is we're getting deep now because this kind of goes into what I was talking about. Are you feeling seen or not? So, how do you hold pride and pain at the same time? It's super celebratory, but then it's also super political. I say that again, being a woman of color and having nobody else on this. We're really going to have a part 2 where this can be a little more interactive and you can talk to me. And I'm going to need resources. So y'all are going to need to like flood me with people who want to join and talk about to where we can actually plan this and maybe make an event out of this. I don't know. Is in person better? I always prefer in person, but Zoom's more convenient. Or maybe do a live on TikTok or whatever. But God, I need to stop saying names. Like, I feel like I'm going to get like a cease and desist on social media. Maybe we'll do a live on social media. God bless. So, yes, back to my question. How do we hold pride and pain? And how can we celebrate something that's beginning or that has been so political? Again, woman of color, I am very proud to be who I am. I am very proud to be biracial. I think I have a unique outlook on the world that most people don't. But also, I feel like there's so many politics still around being biracial. I've told you I've gotten the looks. I get the stares when we go out. I hate filling out self-identifying forms. I think in 2026, like, I get it. You're trying to track numbers, and I'm hoping it's for analytical purposes and not discriminatory purposes. And yes, you can put, I'm an equal employment opportunity entity, all you want in your paperwork, but really the person at the end of the day who's reviewing that paperwork makes that decision. Yeah. So those are the kinds of lines of politics I'm talking about. So why in 2026 are we still self-identifying? Of course, it gives you the option to like not self-identify, not claim a race, but then are you not being proud of who you are? And I think that's so funny, especially now, as I've been doing the job hunting, you always have to think, or I always think at least, and I've been taught this, right? The 6 hours of my business administration class I took. If you don't answer the forms completely, or you don't identify, or you put no, that employer can then say or may think this person is non-compliant. Is this person not proud of who they are? Why don't they want to identify as one of these very vague categories? And so in the back of my mind, as somebody who overanalyzes all the time, it's very annoying. I hate putting on there. There's now an option. Some of the people who have updated their forms now have, you can select 2 or more races instead of just being like African American, Asian, Hispanic, Latino. There's now 2 or more races. You can identify as 2 or more races. And I think it's funny because one time I did jury duty, right? Me and my stories did jury duty. And I think on the form I selected, I like crossed it out because it had been a minute. And now watch me, I just jinxed it. I'm going to get jury duty. It had been a minute and there was no space for me to identify. I identify as 2 races. I am 2 races, okay? So yes, I put on my little form other, black and white. And I think something in court, I don't know if that's something like they consider, like, does this girl not know how to make up her mind? Is she black or is she white? Oh, you know what? I don't think I filled out other. I think I put 2 dots. I think I put a dot in black and like a dot in white. So they were like, is this girl confused? Is she a zebra? Is she identifying as another animal? What's going on? So I have, like, this bit of pain, right? I'm feeling seen these days because now updated forms have 2 or more races, but then there's still times where I'm like, "Ooh, do I really wanna identify? Have they filled their Black quota for employees or potential hires, and now they just wanna skip over my resume, or now they just wanna check their box and say, 'Oh, yeah, 63% of our candidates are 2 or more races,'" right? Lame. So, I'm still very proud and I still celebrate who I am and how I am living my life. However, there's still a lot of pain for that. I don't like to go to restaurants and have people stare at my family. I don't like people asking me what I'm mixed with all the time. I don't like people always telling me I look exotic, and it's not always, right? There's been some times where like, "You have an exotic look." Like, what are you? I'm a lady from San Antonio with a little bit of extra melanin in her skin, okay? Like, it's 2026. So how do you celebrate something that's also so political? I feel like that's really relatable. And I hope, again, I'm not making this about me, but I wanna know, and this is what I can relate to, while it's just me on the line. So, low key, what does it mean to thrive as an LGBTQ plus person right now? I would love that answer. How are you thriving? How would you define thriving in the community right now? And for those of you maybe still in the closet or trying to figure it out, what would you say to them? What would you say as somebody who's out comfortable of who you are, who you're being? What would you say to the peeps still not ready to let their freak flag fly, to be who they are? What advice would you give to them? I think that'd be very helpful to hear from members. And this is definitely a safe space. Nobody's getting outed. Nobody has the right to tell anybody who they can and can't be on this podcast. I'm definitely not going to judge you or say anything about who you are or who you want to be when you grow up. So holler. And if you've got advice for people who may be listening, and I do have some young listeners out there, and maybe some of them are questioning themselves. Maybe some of them are questioning what's going on. It's a monumental time. Things are crazy. And I'm 37 and still trying to figure out my life. So I can only imagine sometimes how the youth feels. And, sometimes I overhear conversations in coffee shops or at the gym, and I hear people, well, I went, and I've heard this, like, boys wanting to wear girls' clothes. Does that make me gay? Does that make me trans? Does that make me a drag queen? And I'm talking like young kids, okay? Like preteens talking about this. If I wear nail polish, does that make me gay? Or I always hear it thrown around now. And again, I don't mean this offensively. This is just what's coming out and what I'm hearing and experiencing myself is I'll be out and about and you'll see a guy at Ulta like getting foundation or and I kid you not, this has happened one time. So I just walked by and was like, gay? Like, you're also in Ulta. And why can't you have good skin? Like, makeup is amazing. Makeup is so much fun to play with. Boys, girls, all the in between, like, are allowed to have makeup. It's just been marketed heavily towards females. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents. Yeah. I still feel like there's still a bunch of people figuring out, especially in this day and age. And I think it's interesting the trends we are seeing. Like, it's no longer just the goth skater boys painting their nails. Men are actually down to get manicures. Like, lumberjacky kind of men's are in the nail salon taking care of themselves. It's self-love, y'all. And if you want to hop on the chrome rainbow 3D nails, why not? It looks gorgeous. It's art. When I see some of these nail techs work, I'm like, dang, okay? Art. It should be in the Louvre, okay? It should be somewhere. Like, why not? And why are we still hating on people doing it? Like, come on, y'all. 2026. Girls are wearing men's clothes. Men are wearing women's clothes. We are definitely blending gender roles, gender lines, gender fashions, gender trends. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people still figuring it out. And I feel like hearing it from somebody who's been through it, maybe has experienced it, could really be helpful for them now. So, comment, interact, engage, and maybe help a sister or brother out, okay? So, I kind of want to wrap up some things here as I finish my one-ended conversation because of my terrible planning. What's one word that describes how you're entering into this pride? This year, 2026, what's one word you entered Pride Month as? Feeling in between. Give me that. And also, if you are wanting followers, you want to give advice, you want to be seen, where can the audience find you? How can we support you? How can we support each other? Our events, things we're attending, small businesses. Like, let's give them shout outs. Let's make sure we're being proud in the city of San Antonio by supporting our LGBTQ plus community, by being great allies, by being awesome human beings, by thriving as sisters, thriving as a brother, thriving as a mentor, a parent, an aunt, uncle, you know the deal. How can we support you? How can we find you? How can we continue to spread the word? Thank you so much for listening. I'm hoping next time this will be a little bit more engaging and I will actually market it more and get links out besides like 10 minutes actually into the show to where you can actually join me. I appreciate your time and low key, stay thriving. It's hard, but we can do it. I'm Mel G, and I am super proud of you. Maybe stay tuned for a part 2. Okay, bye. If this conversation met you where you are, stay with me. New episodes every week on Low Key Thriving. If this felt like something someone else might need, send it their way. Take what you need and leave the rest. And remember,